Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me again today. And our project today, unusually for me, is a 3D project. I've really made enough Christmas cards now. I've got a couple more to show you in the offing, and I may make some, when I start doing my list and realise I haven't got enough, I might make some quick and easy ones. But really now I'm into thinking about the Christmas table and all the accessories around Christmas. I've made quite a lot of I made 4 advent calendars that I showed you before. If you want to have a look through my YouTube channel, you'll see me making those. But these I thought would make rather lovely table favours to go on the table of the Christmas settings, place settings. But actually, because I'm doing this as part of the Inspiring blog hop, the original idea for making this was so that I could package my Secret Santa gift for a set of friends that I'm doing it for, and I'd actually bought her some earrings, so this would be perfect to package those earrings in. So this is my Secret Santa packaging, but like I say, I think it would make lovely. I'm going to make these for my Christmas table, and also I'm going to make some for my sister because she will have people round at Christmas, so I'll make some for her table as well. So let me show you how you make them. You need a piece of cardstock. I will put I will put metric measurements on my blog, but I'm going to be working in inches today. I'm going to be working in imperial today. So I'm going to take my scoreboard. My piece of cardstock measures 6 inches by 5.5, and I'm going to take the 6-inch length and put it there, and I'm going to score at 1, 1.5, 2, 4, 4.5, and 5. All the dimensions and measurements will be on my blog. Please, if you go over there and they're not on there, please remind me. Sometimes I forget to put them on. There will be imperial and metric on there, so you can do it in whichever you're happiest with. Turn it round so the short side, the 5.5 inch side, is at the top, and score at 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 3/4, and 5. There we go. So I can put my scoreboard away and then take out my bone folder and just make sure all of those scored lines are really nice and crisp. And it's important you do this. We're going to do some stamping and embossing on here in a minute, and I find it's important that you do all this before you do the stamping and embossing, because otherwise you tend to spoil the heat embossed images a little bit by using the bone folder. So I would do all this first. So there's my piece of cardstock all scored. I'm then going to take my envelope punch board. Now, if you've got weak wrists or you're not very strong, you may need somebody to help you to do this. It's quite a task because we're going to be cutting through 2 layers of our thin Whisper White card. It's very important. I don't think I said that at the beginning. This is our Whisper White, and it's the thin card. If you try and do it with the thick, I don't think you'll be able to punch through it because we're punching 2 layers. I have seen these crackers made with DSP, with patterned papers. It would be much easier to do that because they are thinner and it'd be easier to punch through. So maybe if you can't manage with the Whisper White, then maybe try the DSP. But you might also be able to have a strong husband or somebody who can help you, or a friend. Hang on, that's not going in there properly. That's got, I was going to say, that's got a bit of paper stuck in there. Could tell it wasn't going flat. So you see they've got 3 little score lines here. We're going to take the middle one, and the middle one is going to line up with the middle of this oval here where it's going to punch. And can you see I've bent over the short edge there. I've bent that over, so I'm punching through 2 layers, and I'm going to have to stand up to do this. I can't do this sitting down, can't get enough pressure. There we go, that's one. And then move it along and do the other one. The middle score line lines up with the middle of the oval. And then we're going to fold over again, so we've got that bit flat on the back, and then again punch. Just trying to do this around the tripod of my camera, which is not the easiest thing to do. It's not easy at the best of times, and trying to manoeuvre around the tripod is even harder. There we go. So like I say, if you have problems, maybe get someone in your life who's a bit stronger. See, I can't do that one. Move it down a bit. So that's better. It's a bit too far away. Sorry, it's going off camera. I just can't get enough pressure on it at this angle, and with getting my arms around the tripod. There we go. That's the last hard one. And then I'm just going to open this up at the end and just do one layer, and that's much easier to do. So like I say, maybe find some very thin something to use like DSP. It's so much easier just doing it through one layer. There we go. That's all the envelope punch board we need. And then if I bring that back my sample to show you, you can see I've decorated the edges of my cracker, which I think is really pretty. And what I used was, do you remember I showed you this a few days ago, the Snow is Glistening stamp set? And I've used this border punch stamp here to just stamp. I haven't used the whole width of it, I've just used like this bit, just to get that pretty edging for my cracker. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So take your template. I need a piece of paper to work on to stamp, because it's going to go over the edges. I don't want to mess up my my grid paper, so I'm just going to stamp on here. Okay, I've got the stamp ready mounted up onto a block, and I've got one of my Versamark pads. Now I have two Versamark pads. I have one that is absolutely pristine and clean, so it stamps really clear. So if I ever want to stamp clear and emboss clearly, or just to do self stamping, I can. But this one, oh, look at that, I've actually coloured a little bit with some smoky slate ink refill. That's so I can see it, because what I want to do is stamp all the way along here, and I want to be able to line each stamp up, and otherwise you just can't see with the Versamark where you've stamped. I've also marked on my stamp, I don't know if you can see that, let me see where I am, a little green mark. Can you see that little green mark on the stamp? That's what's going to line up with the edge of my paper, just so that I get it even. So into my Versamark, and you'll see, just because I put a little bit of smoky slate in there, it's going to mean that this will come up very, very light grey, which will mean I can see where I'm stamping. Can you see that? Not sure how well you can see it. Let's bring it up. Can you see where that's stamped on there? Not sure, but I can see it, so it means that I can see. So I have two Versamark pads on the go, one that's pristine like I say, and one that is for this repeated stamping, and another one so I can see where I've stamped already. So I'm going to do that side. So there we go, that's all the stamping I needed to do along there. Lid on the pad, bring in the paper that I use to emboss. This is just a sheet of paper that I emboss over, and I'm actually going to use my embossing buddy over it. Oh, I forgot to do the embossing buddy on here. Don't forget to do the embossing buddy before you use, just so it doesn't stick to this paper when I try and put it back in the pot. So just sprinkle over there like that. Give it a good flick. Oh, you can see where I haven't used the embossing buddy. You can see where I've got a sticky fingerprint on there. That's all right though, we can sort that out. So I'm going to give it an even bigger flick, because I didn't use the embossing buddy, because I want to get rid of all the excess bits. There we go. And then just need to get my powder back in the pot. So I do that, then I'll flick this as well. Like I said, I'm going to be making a lot of these, so I'm going to have a bit of a conveyor belt going. So there we go, and then I'm just going to bring in my heat gun and heat that up. And that's how I got my decorative edges on my cracker, which I just thought added quite a nice touch. I was thinking that you could do this in any of our coloured cardstock, but I think it really would be too hard to punch through. So I think the Whisper White is slightly thinner than a lot of the others. You could do it in very vanilla, I'm sure you could do it in that. I think that's the same weight. Anything thicker I think would be too thick. Right, there we go. I have actually made one that I've done both edges of, so that we can carry on without me having to show you the other one, but that's the idea, that's how you do that edge. Okay, so here's the one that I did earlier that's got both things done, sides done. So now we can glue. So we're going to turn it around here. I'm using tear and tape today, just because it's easier while I'm on camera and it doesn't need time to dry. But while you're working, I would actually preferably use Tombow. If you're working at home and not got a time limit, then you might want to use Tombow. But tear and tape works perfectly fine, so it's not a problem. There we go. So just take all the layers off there. If I can get them off. Can you see what I'm doing here? Suddenly aware I might be out of camera. There we go. Take off the tear and tape from there. And one last bit, and then we're just going to fold it over. There we go. And while I'm doing this, good time to remind you that it's our online extravaganza at the minute. So just put that there and there. So we've got 10% off. Today is off all our cardstock, most of our cardstock I should say. There's a couple of things that they didn't have enough stock in the warehouse to put them on, and embellishments. Tomorrow and Monday will be stamps and stamp sets and kits, and Tuesday and Wednesday will be tools and ink pads and inks. So if there's any of those things you want, watch out for the make sure you get over to the online extravaganza. You can click through to my shop. There'll be a link below this video to click straight through to my shop, and then there'll be a link to all the things that are on offer. And I've also put a link of all the things that are on offer today. Went out yesterday, so just pop over there. Right, okay, so that's our cracker finished. Now, where's my original? I'm going to show you what I've popped in here. So instead of jewellery, what I had actually popped in here was two, and as it was red and white, I thought these linked up nice. These are Lindor Lindor chocolates, and two of those fit perfectly into here. So I'm not sure in America what you could use instead, but two of those will fit perfectly in our cracker. So maybe I should do the ribbon first to stop them falling out of the ends. So just take a length of, this is our real red solid ribbon. It's only 1/8 of an inch wide. Really pretty and really not easy to tie a nice bow. So just go around this end, and as you pull it, you can pull it tight so that those edges come together. So allow yourself enough ribbon. I might have cut mine a bit short here, and then it gets really fiddly to tie the bow, especially as I'm on camera. It always goes this way. I'm going to try one more time, and then I'm going to cut a different layer. There we go, that might be better. So just to make sure you allow yourself enough ribbon to tie the bow, and then you can trim the ends off at the end. There we go, that's all right. So that's one, and then the other one, just do a bit of a trial and error to see how long a piece of ribbon you need to be able to tie the bow. I'll give this one try, and if not, I'm going to cut another longer piece. That's not long enough at all. Trying to be economical, but ends up being the opposite really. There we go. So how long is my piece of ribbon now? My piece of ribbon is 16 inches now, which will be plenty to draw and to make a nice bow and not be quite so fiddly to do. I know ribbon is expensive, but it really will save you time. That's better. You see, I can tie it so much easier there. And then just pull it tight, pull it smaller, and then you can trim off the ends. There we go. And then my decoration on the top here, where's my original? There we go. Taking the ribbon off the end there, is silver circle cut with our layering circle dies. I think I used the second biggest, so not the smallest, the next size up, and then the smallest stitch circle from the stitch framelet shapes, stitch shaped framelets, and then the snowflake from Snowfall thinlets, the Snowfall. So this is Snow is Glistening, the stamp set, Snow is Glistening. These are Snowfall thinlets. So I've already mounted some tear and tape on here, so all I've got to do is take off the backing. There we go. and line that up, try and get all the edges nice. So it's a very, very small border around there, but really pretty. And then I put some tearing tape on here. I'm going to mount that on to the front as well. I guess you could decorate it with different things depending on what you've got, if you've got holly dies or whatever. Doesn't have to be a snowflake, but I'm really enjoying using these products. Don't forget, they are limited edition, so they're only available. So the stamp set that I use for the edges and the snowflake are only available until the end of November. So just don't hang around if you want them. And actually, they're only also available while stocks last. So if they run out before the end of November, they will go offline. So if you want them, my advice would be to get them sooner rather than later. So anyway, that's my Christmas cracker. Hope you've enjoyed my little video today. Come back soon and see what else other Christmas projects I've been up to. And I'll see you soon. Thanks very much. Bye bye.